I took the time over the last day or so because I know how crazy things get in these last 72 hours heading up to the draft, how crazy the rumors are, these crazy stories that we hear. Again, we don't know if they're planted. We don't know if they're supposed to set us off. But I made sure that the 8 that I chose were by reputable sources. So they're not some slappy in Ohio or Iowa saying something crazy,
Right.
So these are, I'm going to give you a situation. I'm going to give you reported by, and you're going to give me a percentage out of 100 that you think something like this might happen.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to start off with your team, the Giants. All right.
Ooh.
And the rumor is that the Giants could take wideout Jordyn Tyson way earlier than expected, as early as 5 overall. Now, this was reported by Todd McShea and Rich Eisen, obviously reputable sources.
Totally.
And most boards have had the Giants going defense first. So out of 100, what do you think? Now, Joe Shane, just so you know a little context, has been spotted at the workouts personally for Jordyn Tyson. So I don't know if that means anything to you, but go ahead. Out of 100%, what do you think?
I'll say 75%.
Whoa, that's a big number.
75. So there's a couple, and this is fun because it's all we've been doing here for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple other players I would rather, if Jeremiah Love is available, the running back from Notre Dame, I would say jump all over him. But he might not be there. He's probably going to be gone. Sonny Styles, a linebacker from Ohio State, if he's there, I kind of would like to see that. And then go for the next best receiver at 10.
Well, let me ask you this question then. Obviously, different group, but does picking Saquon at 2 a couple of years ago, and it's sort of, you couldn't even keep him in the building, does that have any, if you have a shot at Jeremiah Love at 5, does that Saquon situation, same owner still, you saw how sour he was about it, does it weigh on you in any way?
Well, yeah, because I think you've been looking to replace him ever since then. And you've got a guy like that. And Cam Scadaboo's coming back off an injury. You don't know where he's going to be. And it takes some of the load off of Jackson Dart to be able to run the football with a dynamic back like that. So, but also Malik Neighbors healthy, Jordyn Tyson healthy. Imagine what you could do with 2 weapons on the outside.
Yeah. Well, there's only one Jeremiah Love there too. So I kind of like that idea because at 10 you can maybe go, and we'll talk about how he got that
best
10
receiver potentially. Something like that.
All right. So 75%.
Yeah.
All right. Beautiful. That's a kind of a big number, bigger than I thought you'd get.
Well, because I respect those dudes.
I got you. Okay. So number 2. So the Rams at 13 right now are aggressively trying to trade up into the top 10. All right. The possible partner, the rumor is the Commanders at 7, and this has been reported by the Rams beat, Turf Show Times. So these are guys that are in the building. These are guys that are around the team all the time. And obviously, I'm going to just preface this by the Rams' needs right now, according to draft boards, are wide receiver 3 because of the uncertainty with Puka Nacua.
Yep.
And Devontae is 33 years old now. So wide receiver 3, O-line, and linebacker. So the percentage that the Rams trade up into the top 10, which would be amazing because that offense is crazy.
I'm going to say 35%.
Okay.
I don't know if there's much desire because I've read a bunch of reports of teams trying to trade down because there's Fernando Mendoza. There's maybe a couple guys like in David Bailey and Arvell Reese who people like a lot, but then there's a bunch of interchangeable pieces. And there's not grade A, surefire guys. But the Rams have been very aggressive, and if you find a guy you love more than most, maybe you do get him. But I just don't know if you want to spend what you're going to have to spend or give up the draft capital to go up inside that top 10 because I just don't know if there's a player that's worth it.
I'm sort of there with you. I feel the same way about the draft as a whole. It's a real heavy in the top, and then I think it gets sort of plateaued in the middle.
Yeah.
All right, so this next one's right up your alley. Ty Simpson's landing spots have been shifting. We've obviously heard him likely second round, maybe third over the last couple of months, and lately he's been catching fire. It's been reported by Adam Schefter. There's a lot of buzz around him to the Rams. Schefter shut that down and says that now he thinks it could be the Cards and the Jets super early in the draft. So Ty Simpson's landing spot shifting, percentage that he goes Cards, Jets early.
But they have the 2 and 3.
There you go. Well, the Jets also have 16.
Okay, I'm going to say 0.
Really?
I'll go 5% so I don't look like an idiot if he goes there. I think the best scenario is one of those two teams to trade back in late 20s, kind of like we saw with Jackson Dart and what happened with the New York Giants. And I think 16 is way too rich for me for Ty Simpson. And the money gets a little bit more reasonable and the expectations come down a little bit, where if you're a 16 pick, it's all right, you can probably be starting day 1. Yeah. But if you're that back end and you kind of realize, okay, this is our future, we're going to kind of protect him a little bit. Although if he goes to Arizona, Jacoby Brissett, you're going to roll him out there and feel great about it. I feel better about it.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Now, my question for you, though, is there any shot he's there for the Jets at 33 if they don't make him?
And I think if you are the Jets, Don't get caught in that game of chicken and get panic and be like, we've got to go get him. Let him fall into your lap. If he doesn't, I'd rather have Carson Beck in the beginning of the third round.
I'm curious. I'm trying to think about the quarterback that sort of shocked me the most by where they were picked. Guy where we had him about here and he wound up going here, and I was like, whoa. Now, every year there's a guy or two that they reach for because it's such an important position that you got to get somebody.
Right.
And I think immediately Daniel Jones, right?
Yeah.
I like him way more than you like him,
right.
But 5 or 6 he went, right?
And they had 16 as well.
So where do you feel like a guy like Ty Simpson's prospects stack up to a guy like Daniel Jones at this point in where they were?
Oh, Daniel Jones was a way better prospect.
He was.
He's bigger. He's more physical. He's a better runner. I think Jackson Dart last year coming out was a better prospect than Ty Simpson.
Okay.
That's where and I thought that was the perfect spot for the Giants to pick him. I thought moving back into late first round was perfect. Ty Simpson, I think perfect is second round all day. That's where I think his value is.
What is it about Ty Simpson over the last couple of weeks? Because this is always you watch a guy at a workout or something like that.
Yeah.
What is it that made him he's probably was a third when the season ended and he's catching fire right now? What is it that they're seeing about Ty Simpson that's making them say, you know what, maybe we like him a little more than we thought?
I think it's a couple things. One, there's only one quarterback in this class
there you go.
That's worth the salt. And so they have to talk about somebody. So he's kind of vaulted into that solid number 2 conversation. Mm-hmm. And then because quarterbacks have been overdrafted, it's like, oh, well, how high could he go? How high could he go? And he is an impressive young man. He's going to do well in the interviews. But there are several red flags for me. He's only played 15 games.
Right.
He hasn't been able to stay healthy in those 15 games.
Yeah.
And his play was a little inconsistent. He did make some mistakes, didn't play great. Now, he's played some really good games, and he's had some good ones, but I would like to see a bigger body of work. He's not the tallest, most impressive specimen. I think he's 6'1.5", somewhere around then. He didn't light up a 40 time. He didn't throw it 80 yards down the field. He's just a good prospect. I don't think he's a great prospect.
And just because you just mentioned it's such a one horse race here, it's inevitable that he's going to go one, Fernando Mendoza. But we haven't really hit on him as a prospect, and I've heard a lot of variation. I think some people I've heard this guy's a franchise quarterback. I've heard some people say in another draft, maybe next year, he's the third best quarterback.
Right.
What is your ceiling for Fernando Mendoza?
For Mendoza?
Yeah, I'm just curious. We haven't talked about it too much.
Goes on how I think he could be a quarterback you could win a Super Bowl with.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
I don't think he's a quarterback you can win a Super Bowl because of.
Okay.
Now, that is only probably Aaron Rodgers, who now at this point, probably not.
Okay.
But that to me is Lamar Jackson. It's Josh Allen. It's Patrick Mahomes. That list is really, really small that you have that one. So I could see him, being a top 10 quarterback if things go well.
Okay.
And they put the right pieces around him, and Clint Kubiak kind of gets it as a head coach, and they build a run game with Ashton Genty, and you got Bowers, and you got Tom Brady. I think the support staff is there for him to succeed, but the Raiders haven't had much history of success with quarterbacks recently.
So it seems kind of lazy, and he may be a bit better an athlete, but is he like a Kirk Cousins comp? Is it? I know they're going to be in the same building.
Way better athlete. I think he has a better arm. Kirk is a better, more accurate, and Kirk has the knowledge of playing for that long. And he was but they're both smart. It is the perfect mentor.
Right.
Kirk Cousins is the perfect mentor for Fernando Mendoza, which is why I think it will work eventually. Yeah.
All right, cool.
And Ty Simpson, Ty Simpson's best case scenario is if he went somewhere like the Rams, where he could learn behind Stafford, then you go to a very quarterback-friendly system, and you're going to be in position to succeed. Kind of like what happened with Brock Purdy. I think he's not that. I think he's kind of like Brock Purdy.
There you go.
When he was coming out.
Yeah, Brock Purdy's kind of a sneaky athlete, right? You don't think about it, and then he makes a guy miss, and he.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so next, we're going to kind of keep with that same thought. Cards could take a quarterback because of internal tension, and they may take Simpson. Now, this has been reported by Daniel Jeremiah and Mel Kiper Jr. So the current starter there is Jacoby Brissett. He is now on the second year of a 2-year deal, which kind of makes him like a sitting duck. He's on a $9 million guarantee, $9 million contract with just $1.5 million guaranteed. So Jacoby Brissett is not at voluntary workouts right now. He's not at off-season workouts. For your starting quarterback is a big deal. Percentage that the Cards make a move and take a quarterback early because of this Brissett thing. They need something.
I think they've got to, and at the very least, it's got to be for the future.
Yeah.
And I know the quarterback class, and everybody's like, well, you can tank for Arch or whoever's coming out, Sam Levitt, Brent, one of these guys.
Dangerous game.
Very dangerous game. So that's where I think, because I've had a lot of bets around the parts that I work, whether it's CBS or Sirius, with different people on where Ty Simpson gets drafted. Now, forever I've held firm, be like, Ty Simpson's a second rounder.
Okay.
But this is where I could see the Cardinals leapfrogging that Jets 33 to come,
nice.
and you get the rookie year deal. So I think that they have to take a quarterback.
Yeah.
Now the question is, and there's been reports they want to trade out of that 2 pick, or 3 pick. I don't know if they want to do that, but I think they do end up selecting a quarterback in the second round at the latest.
And how many are in that second pack? Because there's Mendoza, then there's Simpson, and maybe the rest of the group.
I love Carson Beck.
Okay, you love Carson Beck.
I think, and it was funny because I think Carson Beck is very close to Ty Simpson, and I think Fernando Mendoza is way further away than to Ty Simpson. So I think Carson Beck is somebody who's closed the gap a lot. He's played way more football. He has 37 wins in college.
He's been in college since
yeah, exactly.
Guys who have been in the league 4 years.
Yes, exactly. So, and I know that scares some teams off, but a few years ago, after his first year at Georgia, Carson Beck was everybody's number 1 overall pick.
Totally.
Because he's 6'5", he's got a cannon, he can run a little bit.
Wins.
Yeah, and he wins games.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he has elbow surgery, massive elbow surgery.
Sure.
He leaves Georgia. It's a little bit acrimonious. It's not the best relationship. Some of his players like, what? How could you not be happy at Georgia? Then this year at Miami, he did not play great in some clutch situations. All 3 of their losses they all ended with a Carson Beck turnover,
absolutely.
which is not great, but they were really good. Like, he also won him some games. He helped him beat Ole Miss. He helped him beat Texas A&M. He helped him beat Ohio State, where he played really well. So I think he's somebody who's probably done well at the board in the meetings,
probably,
and in the workouts because he's further removed from that arm surgery. And people are like, oh, this guy's got a cannon. Now he's healthy.
And most people, I think, project him to be a backup. You kind of have him in that backup. So not a starter. Like maybe come in for a couple of weeks if he has to.
Best case scenario, all these guys, man, I never said Brock Purdy would have been a starter.
So you
like
think
Tyler Shuck, I would have never said he's in the conversation for a rookie
one
year.
starter in this entire draft.
I think the one I would be willing to say, yeah, it's Fernando, and that's
interesting.
It. But I do think whoever goes to Pittsburgh, and backs up Aaron Rodgers if he ever says he's coming back.
Yeah.
I think that's a place with Mike McCarthy that's kind of a winning tradition. I kind of like that spot. And that if that was like a 3rd round pick for Carson Beck, goes 3rd round to the Steelers, and he competes with Will Howard next year.
Okay.
I think that's a situation where you could see him get that opportunity.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I love it. Now, this is one we touched on last week, and I think I know exactly what you're thinking here. You did a great job of describing why, but Jets seem to be pivoting from Arvell Reese more towards David Bailey now. This was reported by Mel Kiper Jr. You kind of let us in a little bit on why David Bailey is such an intriguing prospect coming in. You want to talk about that one quickly?
Yeah, this is the ultimate risk versus reward. Do you go for the safer pick or do you go for maybe the one that has a higher upside? David Bailey is the safer pick. Arvell Reese is the high upside.
Okay.
But I will say this. David Bailey is not a slouch. When I say safe, I think you think of, he must not be that good.
Yeah.
He's been the most productive pass rusher over the last 3 seasons, 2 at Stanford and 1 at Texas Tech. He gets after the passer. His sack rate is 22%. In his 3-year career, 22% sack rate, or pressure rate. That is higher than Will Anderson Jr. had in college. That's higher than Abdul Carter had in college. And there's one other guy I forget who it is, but it's elite guys that have all been 1st-round picks, and Will Anderson Jr. has been incredible.
Yeah.
Abdul Carter still has a way to go. But his production has matched it. And his one question mark is how to do against the run. I think that's one of his knocks. I think he's better against the run than people think. And I'm partial to him because I got to talk to him.
Yeah.
He sounds like a pro. He gets it.
You know why I think he's actually more impressive maybe than Arvell Reese is because that offenses are gaming strictly for David Bailey. They're game planning.
Right.
In Arvell Reese's system, you got to worry about Sonny. So Sonny Styles is taking some of the attention away. Caleb Downs is taking some of the attention away. That massive front 7 out there in Ohio State is bringing a lot of the attention off of an Arvell Reese, who's a monster, but you can't put everything you have in his direction like teams probably are against David Bailey, right?
Right. Totally agree. Great point.
Okay, so what is the percentage that you think they ends up being David Bailey over Arvell Reese? You had David Bailey as your pick.
I did. So I was trying to find the odds makers because I know at one time, on Monday, Arvell Reese was the favorite.
Yes.
And is it flipped back now? So now you're getting reports saying it's going to be David.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll stick with Bailey because I think of the situation. You need somebody who can come in that you can trust from week 1 to step in and he's going to play. Now he might be a rookie and it's a little bit overwhelming, but I still think he'll be productive enough to where it's not embarrassing. Arvell Reese is so young.
Yeah.
And he's so he's just long, he's lanky. Now I think he could be really good, but also position, it's a lot of question where do you play him? I think he could be somebody where he's on the bench, why isn't he playing? Why is he number 2 overall and he's not playing? So I think, and with that staff and regime, they need somebody who can come in and play right away.
Got it. And what is like the age to you that it becomes like alarming? Because like let's be real, an NFL career, it's like five. I mean, most of them are shorter than 3 years. But a guy who you draft here, would you say if you get 6 or 7 years out of that guy, it's a success? So to me, a guy 23, 24, if I get him till he's 30, his age doesn't worry me at all.
No.
Right?
Fact,
what's the number where you start to be like, oh, this guy's kind of, it's a little
I
worrisome.
don't know if there is one because of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's just no one, like, you're not thinking 15 years down the road. You're hardly thinking 10.
Of course.
Thinking, I got this 5 to 6 year window. How can I get him? And by the way, there's a lot of older guys in this draft due to COVID, due to all the extra years of eligibility these players have gotten, and the fact that more players can stay in college and get paid.
Right.
Like you can be a junior and you can get more money. There was a whole article about how many backup quarterbacks in the NFL are getting pay cuts from how much they made as quarterbacks in college. Riley Leonard is making less as an Indianapolis Colts quarterback than he was a Notre Dame starter.
Right.
We mentioned Will Howard. He said he's making less as a Steelers backup than he was in college. Yeah. So it allows a lot of players to stay in college longer because they get paid and they make better decisions, which is good. They can get developed a little bit longer. And so a lot of the players now are becoming older as draft prospects because they're getting paid in college.
Right. And I hear that, and I often hear it used as a negative in a guy's draft scouting profile. And I'm almost like, guy's 23, I'm 24. I was way more mature at 24 than I was at 19 or 20. Right. I can promise you that. I'm more likely to make good decisions. I'm more likely to stay in and study on a Friday at 24 or 25 than I am at 19 or 20. Totally. So, all right, cool. So next. All right. The next one is one that I think is going to be interesting for you, and we kind of touched on it a little earlier. Adam Schefter says, Jeremiah Love is rising, and he doesn't make it past 3 to Arizona.
Ooh. Man, I'll say, gosh, I kind of hope he doesn't go there, especially if it's Brissett playing quarterback, because I think it could be a long year for him. You know, like, just you don't have the weapons all around him. But it would not be surprising at all to me. Jeremiah Love is a special player. I'll put it at 50%.
Okay.
Man, that is high for a back at 3. But I mean, same thing. I mean, I like him at Tennessee at 4. And I also think that the way I kind of see it unfolding is Arizona. Like, if you get Mendoza's off the board, one of those 2 defensive guys, I think they either go with one or the other, whether it's Bailey or Arvell Reese.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll put it right around 50%. Just Schefter knows usually what he's talking about, but I really think the sweet spot for Jeremiah Love is that 4 at Tennessee.
And I think we talked about it a little bit last time. You made a point of picking a running back at that point is dangerous. But let's say, like, you can look into the crystal ball now, and now you're a GM from now, and you see how Saquon panned out and how Bijan Robinson's panned out, and how Jahmyr Gibbs has panned out. These guys have done pretty good getting drafted super high. Yeah. Does that make it a little more intriguing to you, like seeing these guys, or are you still like, that's
I
not
don't
enough
have a problem
for me.
with it. I think Jeremiah Love. I do. I think there's a track record of it, like of the success of the running backs. I also think there's been a reemergence of the running game
Absolutely.
in the NFL. I mean, I know Kenneth Walker wasn't the starter the whole season long last year for Seattle, but the run game was a big part of it. Saquon, look at what he did for the Eagles. Mm-hmm. Even Christian McCaffrey. Now, I know that he wasn't drafted by the 49ers. He was drafted by Carolina, but he's helped elevate that whole system. I mean, and Derrick Henry, look at his pairing with Lamar Jackson. I think the running back position is sort of back because it was 4 or 5 years ago. Remember, everybody's like, don't pay them.
Yeah.
And running backs were having meetings, like trying to figure out how do we get more leverage. Well, the cyclical nature of the NFL philosophies has come back where the run game is more trendy. And Bijan's a great example of recent success.
Right, and with Derrick Henry being your outlier, obviously all these guys changed the game in the passing sense too. So they're not picking guys there that they're going to hand the ball off to 30 times a game. They're picking guys that they're going to give the ball to 18 times a game and they're going to catch 6 footballs too. So they've completely changed with the change of that offensive system. So, all right, cool. So Jeremiah Love 50-50 to make it past Arizona. I think best player in the draft, in my opinion. I think he's the best player in the draft.
Jeremiah Love?
Yeah.
Okay. I agree.
All right, so the next one, we're almost done. So this is going to be the next one is Brett Veach from actually Kansas City, the GM. He's on record saying this is going to be a massive trade-heavy first round. He expects that there's going to be like 5 or more trades in the first round. What is the percentage on that? He thinks the reason for it is a weak quarterback class, and like you said, lots of similar tiered prospects in here. So you may love a guy. Yeah. This team might feel different about him.
I'll agree. Okay. I do think there'll be some action because of what he's saying. I think, and you don't have to, if you just need to move up a few spots, go get a player that you really like, and there's teams like, I don't really love them that much. They're probably willing to find a lot of deals willing to be made, which I think this Thursday night is going to be a ton of fun because of all this uncertainty.
Same.
Like, we don't know, and there's going to be some surprises of names we probably don't even know that, because there's just a lot of uncertainty, like between the top 10 players and then like the 50. Like, so there are 40 players that don't have that much separation for where the play, where they're graded by some of these teams.
Okay, so last but not least, and I want to, I guess, preface it with a question. Like, just give me a round number. You don't have to list them or know them, but how many draftable quarterbacks would you say are in this draft period? Is there 5? Is there 7? Is there 10?
Last year, I think there were 12 quarterbacks taken. Like, there's going to get some that are scooped up in the late rounds, 6 and 7. I'll say 10.
Okay, so 10.
Yeah.
So the Athletic and ESPN are saying that this quarterback class is so weak that teams that need quarterbacks are still considering completely punting on it and waiting till 27, where they can get a potential game changer in the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th, because there's so many.
Yeah.
What are the odds that, I mean, after Mendoza and maybe 1 or 2 others, teams just kind of punt on the draft period?
I mean, like, if you gave me, like, if we were doing a bet and it was like 5.5, 6.5.
That's what I'm saying. Over under.
I might go around there. Like, if it was 6.5, I might go under, because you fall out of love quick with quarterbacks that had pretty nice, careers. Diego Pavia, his name was out there.
Yeah.
I think Schefter said he's hearing that maybe he does get drafted. I don't think he does. Like, and maybe he gets an opportunity from Tennessee to come in because it's a fan favorite, is a local guy that played in Nashville, but he's not going to play. Like, his game doesn't suit anything they do. Then there's guys like Drew Aller at Penn State, who was phenomenal.
Yeah, you're not very high on Drew Aller,
prospect,
right?
but the tape just isn't very good. He never took that next step. He could, but I could see a team totally falling in love with him because he's 6'5", he's got a cannon, really nice kid, but he just never developed. So I would say I agree with that report, that I think there are a lot. And now you got to be careful with this, because they're saying next year. Wait till you see next year's class. It's going to be so talent rich. But I think the teams are going to buy into it because they're just not that enticing prospects out there this year as quarterback.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of us feel the same. All right, Dan, so you aced them.
Yeah.
All
let's
8,
go.
bro. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right.
That was fun.